everyone, and welcome to the latest IAM webinar. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jodie Williamson, Professional Development and Membership Manager at the IAM. It's my pleasure today to welcome Kambiz, who will discuss asset valuation and whole life cost analysis for informed business decision making. At the end of the session, Kambiz will answer your questions, so you can submit those by visiting slido.com and using the code 3980765. That code's available in the chat throughout the webinar, and at the end we'll also share a QR code which will be displayed on the screen. Kambiz is a senior consultant with over 7 years of experience in asset management research and implementation, and leverages the power of advanced analytics and modelling in asset management. Like I've already said, he's going to talk to you today about asset valuation and whole life cost analysis for informed business decision making. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Kambiz. So thank you very much.
Yep, thank you, Jodie, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. So I just jump into the presentation. Today, I'm going to present on asset valuation and whole life cost analysis for informed business decision making. So basically, I start with the goal of my presentation today, which is to demonstrate how asset management practices and principles can go beyond just managing the assets. In other words, I want to show how an asset whole life cost and value modeling, which is rooted in the asset management principles and practices, can help asset intensive organizations to make more informed and defendable business decisions. And specifically, when it comes to different business situations, this approach can help the decision makers to make informed and defensible decisions, and especially when it comes to the transferring the ownership of assets or leasing the assets. Organizations can consider life cycle cost and value analysis to get an understanding of how much is the value of their assets, and so that they can basically negotiate for the transferring the ownership of their assets or just leasing their facilities or assets. So this is one of the biggest application of this approach. Another case is for the complex negotiations when again it comes to negotiating with third parties. So organizations need to understand the value of their assets, and also how much are the upcoming costs for the upkeeping with their assets, or any sort of outsourcing contracts, like performance-based maintenance contracts. So understanding again the cost and value of the assets would be beneficial for the organizations to better negotiate the outsourcing activities with the third parties, or any sort of concession agreements. Basically, whenever it comes to divestment decisions or complex negotiations, asset lifecycle cost and value analysis can provide valuable information and insights to the decision makers to better negotiate and get the most out of their assets. So let's together jump into the spectrum of asset life cycle. So we start with the acquisition of assets by investing a capital investment to basically install the asset, and over the life of the asset's condition gets degraded. It gets worse over the time, and that means the probability of failure of the asset will go up, and that means assuming that the failure, the consequence of failure, which is mainly based on the design of the asset, stays the same. That means the risk will go up because the probability of failure goes up due to the worst condition. So then asset reaches to a point that either it hits the minimum condition threshold or the maximum risk threshold, and that's the time that the asset owner or asset management needs to make a decision or intervention about the asset by either a rehab or refurbishment investment, and that basically improves the condition of the asset, and that happens over this cycle repeats over the life of the asset. At some point it makes more sense to either replace or renew the asset rather than just rehabbing it, and that requires more investment.